There is a kind of hush that arrives just before Christmas. A quietness hidden underneath the noise, the rushing, the gift buying, the decorating, the obligations, and the expectations. It's a silence you can only hear when you slow down long enough for your heart to catch up with your body. And in that silence, something softer begins to speak. A whisper you may not have heard in years. It is the voice of your inner child, waiting patiently, hoping you'll turn toward them this Christmas. This episode begins in that stillness. Not the external one, but the internal one. The pause where all your defenses, habits, and adult responsibilities loosen their grip just long enough for you to feel something more honest, more tender, more human. You see, Christmas has a strange way of awakening old memories. For some people, the holidays spark warmth. The smell of cinnamon, the lights glowing softly in the dark, the familiar songs that feel like home. For others, the holidays bring up longing, disappointment, or unresolved hurt. But whether your childhood Christmas was magical, complicated, lonely, or a mix of everything, there is a part of you that has always carried the essence of the season. Wonder, innocence, and the yearning to be seen and soothed. This part, your inner child, remembers everything. They remember what it felt like to wait for magic, to hope for joy, to believe something beautiful might happen. They also remember what it felt like to be forgotten, overlooked, or misunderstood. The beauty of inner child work is that we no longer need to pretend those early feelings aren't shaping us now. Christmas gives us a doorway to rediscover them safely. When the world around you slows down, even just a little, you may notice old emotions rising to the surface. You might feel unexpectedly tender, or strangely sad, or quietly hopeful. That's your inner child speaking. Throughout this part of the episode, I want to guide you into a slower, deeper rhythm. A space where your nervous system can soften, and your awareness can open to the parts of you that you have rushed past for years. Let's begin by imagining yourself sitting near a window on a December evening. Outside, the air is cool, still. Maybe lights flicker from a nearby house. Maybe street sounds are muted, softened by winter's breath. Inside, you are warm. Maybe wrapped in a blanket. Maybe sitting with a soft glow of light nearby. Now, notice your breathing. Not forcing anything, simply observing it. Notice how your chest gently expands as if making space for something new. And now, take one slow breath deeper than the others. Not to relax, but to arrive. Arrive here. Arrive in yourself. Arrive in this moment you're giving back to your inner child. Because here's the truth. Your inner child has been trying to speak to you all year long. Christmas simply makes it harder to ignore. You might hear their voice in your longing for a simpler holiday. Or in the ache that comes when you feel alone, even in a room full of people. Or in the warmth that rises when you notice small magic, like the twinkle of lights or the quiet beauty of a December night. Your inner child carries 3 things you may be craving without realizing it. 1. Permission to slow down. Children live in the moment. They know how to pause, how to marvel, how to notice. Adults forget. 2. Permission to feel. Children cry when they hurt and laugh when they're joyful. Adults suppress and survive. But something in you still remembers what it feels like to feel everything fully. 3. Permission to hope. Children believe in magic, not because they're naive, but because they still trust life. Your inner child still wants to trust life too. As you sit inside this inner quietness, ask yourself gently, what part of me has been waiting to be acknowledged this Christmas? Don't try to answer with logic. Let the feeling come. Let the truth rise. Maybe it's a younger version of you who never got the love they deserved. Maybe it's the joyful child inside you who wants to return to play. Maybe it's the disappointed child who always hoped Christmas would feel different. Maybe it's simply the tender part of you who wants to rest. Whoever shows up, welcome them. Imagine this younger version of you walking into the room. Notice their face, their posture, their energy. Notice whether they seem excited, shy, lonely, hopeful, or unsure. And then imagine yourself kneeling down to meet them at eye level. Not judging. Not analyzing. Just meeting them with presence. Because presence is healing. Presence is love. Presence is the peace the child inside you has been craving for years. In this moment, sit with them. Listen. Feel the connection forming. Notice how your body responds. Maybe a softening in your chest. Maybe a warmth across your shoulders, maybe a sense of recognition that feels like coming home. This is where inner peace begins. Not by fixing, not by forcing, but by understanding. Because the foundation of inner peace is this: you cannot soothe what you have not yet acknowledged. So let this Christmas be the season you stop ignoring the child inside you. Let this be the moment you slow down enough to hear what they've been whispering all along. You might hear, "I miss feeling excited. I miss being seen. I want to feel safe. I want to trust again. I want to rest. I want to play." Or simply, "Please don't forget me again." Whatever your inner child says, know this: they are not demanding. They are not immature. They are not burdensome. They are simply honest. And they're giving you the greatest invitation of this holiday season: to remember who you were before life hardened you. To remember who you were before you had to prove anything. To remember who you were before you stopped believing in softness. This Christmas, your inner child is not asking for a perfect holiday. They're asking for presence. They're asking for gentleness. They're asking for you. So as we close part 1, take one more deep breath. Feel the warmth of this connection. Feel the truth of it. Your inner child is here. You are here. And this Christmas, something beautiful is beginning to open. The softening. Learning to accept what your inner child never received. There is a moment in every healing journey when the heart becomes quiet enough to hear what has been waiting underneath all along. It is the moment when you stop trying to fix yourself, stop pushing your feelings away, and instead begin to soften. This softening is not weakness. It is the beginning of understanding. And in this chapter of our Christmas reflection, we enter that moment together. Part 1 helped you reconnect with your inner child through memory, imagery, and felt sense awareness. Now, in part 2 we go deeper, not by digging for pain but by giving meaning to the wounds that shaped you. This is where inner peace begins. Not in perfect healing, not in perfect understanding, but in making room for the parts of you that never knew comfort, safety, or unconditional love. This is the softening. When Christmas never felt like magic. Many people imagine Christmas as a season filled with warmth, sparkle, and family closeness. But for others, the holidays carried tension, unpredictability, or emotional distance. And when you grew up in a home like that, Christmas didn't feel like magic. It felt like stepping on broken glass while trying to smile. If you were the child who tried hard to behave so the adults wouldn't explode, stayed small, quiet, or invisible to avoid conflict, became the helper to feel needed, took responsibility for everyone's feelings, waited for a gift you never received, not a toy but tenderness, then your nervous system learned something early. The holidays were not a time of rest. They were a test, a performance, a season of tension disguised as celebration. And now, as an adult, you might feel that same heaviness each year without understanding why. You may feel overwhelmed by expectations, or strangely lonely even when surrounded by people, or guilty for not feeling the joy everyone else seems to feel, or tired from being the strong one, the responsible one, the one who holds everything together. This isn't because you're doing Christmas wrong. It's because your inner child learned that the holidays were not safe. Part 2 is about giving yourself permission to acknowledge this truth, without self-blame and without judgment. Because when you accept what you never received, you make room to finally give it to yourself. Understanding the child behind your patterns. To soften is to see the child behind your adult coping. Let's explore 3 common childhood adaptations that often resurface during the holidays. 1. The peacemaker. This child learned to keep everyone happy. To stay calm when others were not. To lower their needs so others didn't feel burdened. As an adult, the peacemaker still appears around Christmas. Absorbing emotional tension. Organizing everything. Smoothing over discomfort. Avoiding conflict at all costs. But beneath that behavior is a longing. I wish someone would finally care about me. 2. The performer. This child learned to earn affection through achievement or perfect behavior. During the holidays, this may show up as trying to create the perfect Christmas, feeling pressure to show up cheerful, over-functioning so no one is disappointed. But behind the mask there is a wish. I wish I could just show up as myself and still be loved. 3. The protector. This child learned to expect disappointment, so they stopped hoping to avoid being hurt. As an adult, the protector may keep emotional walls up, withdraw during holiday gatherings, resist vulnerability, feel numb instead of joyful. And deep down they whisper, I wish there was a place where I could relax and feel safe. When you understand these patterns, something softens, because you stop seeing them as flaws. You start seeing them as the brilliant strategies of a child who did not have enough support. Your inner child survived by adapting. But now, as an adult, you can offer them something new. Understanding. The turning point. When understanding replaces shame. So many adults carry secret shame about how they turn into a different person around the holidays. They wonder, why do I feel anxious? Why do I shut down? Why do I feel like crying for no reason? Why do I get irritated so easily? Why does Christmas feel heavy instead of joyful? Here is the truth you may need to hear. Your reactions are not wrong. They are expressions of a child who once needed more than they received. This is why understanding is so powerful. Understanding doesn't fix the past. It doesn't rewrite what happened or what never happened. But it lifts the weight of self-blame. It brings compassion to your patterns. It turns judgment into tenderness. And tenderness is the beginning of inner peace. The conversation your inner child has been waiting for. If your inner child could speak clearly, without fear, without pressure, without needing to protect you, they might say something like this. I tried my best. I was small. I didn't understand why people acted the way they did. I wasn't bad. I wasn't too much. I wasn't the problem. I just needed more love, more gentleness, more presence than I received. When you hear these words, notice what happens in your body. Maybe something relaxes. Maybe something tightens. Maybe something inside you whispers, yes, that's true. This is understanding. Understanding is simply making space for reality to be what it was, without minimizing it and without dramatizing it. This is how inner peace begins. Not with perfection, but with honesty softened by compassion. Letting yourself feel without drowning. If the holidays activate your emotional wounds, you don't need to push through or silence yourself. Here is a simple but powerful 3-step practice. 1. Pause. Just stop for a breath. Feel your feet. Let your shoulders drop. Give yourself a moment. 2. Name what's happening. Say quietly inside. This feels hard. I feel tense. This reminds me of something old. When you name a feeling, you reduce its intensity. You give it a place instead of letting it overwhelm you. 3. Offer understanding. Place your hand over your heart or your stomach. Wherever the tension lives. Say, of course I feel this way. This makes sense. I'm here with you. You don't have to go through this alone anymore. Understanding is the doorway to soothing. Soothing is the doorway to peace. Rewriting what Christmas means for you. Most of us inherited someone else's definition of Christmas. How to act. How to feel. What family should look like. What joy should feel like. But you are allowed to rewrite the meaning. Your Christmas can be quiet, slow, simple, non-traditional, emotionally spacious, or even intentionally small. You can choose peace over performance, rest over responsibility, truth over tradition, connection over perfection. Your inner child doesn't want a perfect holiday. They want a safe one, a gentle one, a kind one, a holiday where they don't have to hide, earn, or prove anything. Understanding gives them that. The softening becomes a gift. This part of your journey, acknowledging what you never received, does not take away from your holiday spirit. It enhances it. Because once you understand your past without shame, you stop reliving it. You stop repeating roles. You stop blaming yourself for patterns you didn't choose. You stop expecting Christmas to heal wounds it didn't create. And instead, you begin to approach the season with tenderness. This year, I will be gentle with myself. That is the softening. And that softness is a gift one your inner child will feel immediately and deeply. Coming home to yourself again. The peace your inner child has been waiting for. There's a moment, somewhere in adulthood, when you realize that peace isn't something you find. It's something you return to. It's the place inside you that existed long before responsibilities, disappointments, heartbreaks, and exhaustion piled themselves across your chest. It's the soft, unguarded space you once lived in effortlessly, when you were small, hopeful, curious, and open to the world. And this final part of our Christmas reflection is about guiding you back there, Back to the inner home you've been missing without even knowing it. Take a breath with me. Soften your shoulders. Let your jaw unclench. Imagine a deeper quiet gathering around you like gentle snow falling at night. This is where part 3 begins. Not with ideas, not with strategies, but with slowing down enough to hear your inner child whisper again. 1. The way back home is not forward, it's inward. Every person I've ever met who feels lost, empty, or overwhelmed shares one thing in common. They've been trying to move forward without checking whether all parts of them are actually coming along. Your inner child is the part of you that gets left behind most easily. Whenever you push through exhaustion, silence your needs, or ignore the places that hurt, something inside you stops moving, grows quiet, hides. And here's the truth no one teaches us. Sparkle's peace comes when every part of you is allowed to return. Even the parts that were once dismissed, shamed, or misunderstood. You can't outrun yourself into wholeness. You can only turn inward and offer the warmth you've been seeking from the outside world. Christmas gives us a metaphor for this return. Lights in the window, warmth behind the door, a home ready to welcome you back. Your inner child has been standing at that door, waiting for you to notice them again. 2. Softening the walls you built to survive. Let's be honest, the walls you built were not mistakes. The independence, the self-protection, the numbness, the perfectionism. These were all intelligent responses to the environments you grew up in. They kept you safe. They helped you cope. They allowed you to function when comfort wasn't available. But adulthood brings a new challenge. What once protected you is now preventing you from resting. And you feel it, don't you? That quiet ache for gentleness. That longing for safety. That desire to be met with kindness instead of pressure. You are not weak for wanting these things. You're human. More importantly, you're remembering what your inner child always needed and never stopped wanting. So ask yourself gently, where am I still living in survival? Where am I still bracing for something that already ended? Which part of me is ready to come home if only I opened the door? This reflection isn't about forcing big changes. It's about allowing small softenings, the quiet shifts that let warmth and life seep back in. 3. Why you feel not enough, even when you're doing everything. Let's talk about the exhaustion you never say out loud. You do the work. You carry the responsibilities. You hold yourself together. You show up for others over and over again. And still, a voice inside whispers, I'm failing. I'm behind. I should be better. I'm not enough. That voice is not your adult self. It's your inner child, repeating an old message they once absorbed when the world around them felt demanding, unpredictable, or unkind. Every December, this feeling often intensifies. Holidays stir our old emotional histories. Family patterns, childhood memories, unmet longings, comparisons, pressure to perform or pretend we're okay. But here's the liberating truth. Sparkles, you don't need to become more. Your inner child needs you to become gentler. You're not lacking achievement. You're lacking tenderness. You're not missing discipline. You're missing reassurance. You're not broken. You're burdened. And the moment you begin offering yourself emotional safety instead of self-criticism, peace finally has a path to reach you. 4. The Christmas reunion you didn't know you needed. Imagine walking into a warm, glowing room where a younger version of you is waiting. Not a metaphor. Imagine them. The small child you once were. Shy or playful, sensitive or bright-eyed, hopeful or cautious. Look at them standing there. What do you notice first? Their tiny hands? The uncertainty in their eyes? The way they look at you, unsure if you'll be kind or disappointed. Now watch what happens when they realize you're not here to judge them. You're here to meet them. Their shoulders lower. Their breath softens. Their eyes shift from fear to recognition, to relief. This is the reunion your soul has been waiting for. And you don't need a holiday, a ritual, or a perfect emotional moment to make it real. You only need willingness. The willingness to look inward. The willingness to listen without rushing. The willingness to stop abandoning yourself when things get hard. Your inner child is not asking you to fix them. They're asking you to stay. 5. The peace that comes from letting yourself be seen. There is no deeper relief in the human experience than being emotionally seen. But here's the part we rarely consider. Being seen by others is powerful. Being seen by yourself is transformational. When you acknowledge your own emotions, your own pain, your own needs, your inner child finally receives something they may have been waiting decades for. Validation, compassion, belonging, permission to exist. Peace isn't achieved by eliminating difficult emotions. It is found by offering yourself the safety to feel them without fear. This Christmas, give yourself this gift. Let the child inside you be seen without judgment. Let them tell you, I'm tired. I don't want to be perfect anymore. I want connection, not pressure. I want rest. I want gentleness. I want to be loved in a way that doesn't hurt. And respond with the words they should have heard long ago. You're safe with me. You're allowed to rest now. I'm not leaving you again. This is what coming home feels like. 6. A quiet promise to carry into the new year. As we close this final part of the episode, I want to invite you into a simple, intimate moment. Place a hand on your heart, or on your belly, or anywhere that feels grounding. Feel your breath. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. And whisper this promise inward. I'm coming back for you. I won't rush past you again. You're safe with me now. Say it slowly. Say it like you mean it. Say it until something inside you softens in recognition. This is the true gift of the season. Not decorations. Not gatherings. Not expectations or performances. But coming home, finally, gently without conditions, to the deepest, most innocent part of yourself. Your inner child has waited long enough. Let this be the Christmas you return. I created a free mini ebook called Coming Home for the Holidays, a gentle inner child awakening. It's a soft, grounding companion filled with warm reflections, gentle journal prompts, and emotional guidance to help you reconnect with the child within you. Not just during Christmas, but any time you need comfort, warmth, and belonging. This little book is an invitation to slow down, breathe deeper, and remember that you've always been worthy of love, joy, and rest. You can download it completely free. The link is in the description below. Subscribe, like and share for more episodes from Book with Joys. Inner peace, self-worth, and emotional freedom.